Hello there everybody, Adam Cleary here, and don't know if you noticed this, but in the movie Captain Marvel, which tells the origin story of the character Captain Marvel and stars Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, nobody actually uses the phrase Captain Marvel at any point. Thing is though, Brie Larson's part Kree superhero is set to lead the MCU and the Avengers in the near future, so we do kind of need something to call her beyond simply Carol. Like, Captain America wouldn't have been quite as impactful if he was just Steve. There is this sense of inevitability of certain things happening to certain characters in Endgame. It's the logical get-off points for both Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, and while Iron Man can probably retire, given everything he set up, Rogers doesn't really have that whole avenue available to him. It's not really that easy for Captain America, so all signs point to him dying. Sorry. But as one captain departs, let's just say, another can rise in his place. So it's quite logical then that both Steve Rogers and Carol Danvers are going to spend a lot of screen time together in that film. Plus, it fits with the comics and explains why we haven't yet heard the name Captain Marvel. I will do my best to explain. So just in case you don't know, Carol Danvers was never originally called Captain Marvel. The first ever use of that name, in Marvel anyway, apologies to Shazam, was with the character Mar-Vell. When Carol absorbed all that radiation from a Kree device, she becomes Ms. Marvel and fights alongside Mar-Vell for large parts of the 70s until the original dies in 1982. It wasn't until 2012 that Carol Danvers actually first felt comfortable using her mentor's name. Like, before that, she was Ms. Marvel and Warbird and Binary and all of that. In fact, it was actually Monica Rambeau who first took on the mantle of Captain Marvel. Yes, Maria's daughter from the film. Carol first appeared under the Captain Marvel name in Avenging Spider-Man #9, and from there it went to launch the character into these whole new heights and levels of success. Wasn't an easy decision, mind, but she did make it. During that period, it was Steve Rogers, Captain America himself, who persuaded Carol Danvers to take on the name Captain Marvel. Like, she had the iconic red and blue suit by this point, but the name still hadn't arrived. Not yet. You see, in the comics, Carol and Steve go way back, and it's this interaction between the two which proves to be pivotal for the character. We haven't quite got all this baggage in the MCU, but that doesn't mean a similar thing wouldn't be as heavy. Where we currently are in the films is that she has the rank of Captain already. We did see that, and she's got the influence of Mar-Vell, so somewhere, someone is going to have to encourage her to put those two together. Could be her, could be Captain America, could be Nick Fury, could be anyone. Thing is, while Carol is never referred to by her superhero name in the film, they do tease it quite a lot. There's the previously mentioned presence of Mar-Vell, which Nick Fury subsequently twists into Marvel during that lovely little washing the dishes Mr. Postman scene, and there's the fact that yes, she is literally a captain. They keep teasing it, they keep toying with both those things being so close together, but just never do it. As such, there has been some speculation from fans that the reason Marvel haven't used the name in the film is because they don't want you to think of her as Captain Marvel. They want you to think of her as Carol Danvers, but it's literally the name of the film, guys. It's front and center, it's on the poster, it's what you asked for at the ticket office when you went to see the thing, so they are definitely going to use that as soon as it is convenient. Fortunately for both Disney and Marvel, though, it's about to become incredibly convenient in Avengers Endgame. Like, for all that film is about closing the chapters on the existing characters, it's also about opening new ones to lead the franchise forward. But the problem they've got with that is you're gonna end up with two captains. Alright, so from the off, the comparisons between Captain Marvel and Captain America are incredibly obvious. I don't just mean they're called Captain either, like that is very surface level, but they are both leaders, they both command respect, they are both soldiers who were given these strange powers in the line of duty. It goes really deep. Thematically as well, there's a lot that binds the two of them together. Like, they were both underestimated for their entire lives until they got all tension, amazing and stuff, and both of their stories are rooted in the past. Plus, you could make an argument as well that they're both the first of their kind. Like, Steve was the first ever super soldier, and Carol was the first to wield such blasty, cool powers. Don't get me wrong though, I'm not like trying to say they're interchangeable or anything, but they both possess the exact characteristics that can lead, and indeed in the case of the comics, have led the Avengers themselves. They're the kind of characters you can build movies around. It's apt then that the two are finally going to get to meet in Avengers Endgame. Like, we haven't totally seen precisely how they're going to be interacting in that film, but it's not being disingenuous, let's say, to think they're going to be drawn to each other. There's potential there for a truly affecting back and forth between the two characters as we see what is effectively Marvel's past and Marvel's future interact for the very first time. The dynamic between the two could give us one of the series' most pivotal moments, but it doesn't solve the problem of you've still got two captains. You can't really have that. Okay, so cards on the table here. There have been lots of captains in Marvel Comics over the years. America, Marvel, and lol, even Britain probably being the three most famous, but you can only really have one in the Avengers, can't you? That's all it needs. Why? Bit niche for this channel, maybe, but anyway, we'll press on. It's complicated, okay? It's complicated, but legacy is going to be a really important part of the MCU going forward. So it only makes sense to have one under those circumstances, but still, even if they take it in a surprising direction, still only needs to be one. For a long time now, fans have anticipated that Steve Rogers' exit from the role of Captain America, one way or another, would lead to Bucky Barnes taking up the shield, just as he did in the comics. But it does look for all the world like Marvel aren't really interested in going down that route. Yes, Dan Sebastian does have loads of films left on his contract, but it looks like he's going to go to Disney Plus instead and do a buddy cop thing, road movie type thing with Anthony Mackie's Falcon, which I am really hyped for. What if though, and just what if this whole legacy thing wasn't some big literal deal? What if it was just a figurative passing of the torch? So Captain America leaves, you don't get somebody replacing him as Captain America, you just get a new captain. Someone who can lead the Avengers, yes, but also leads the MCU. Alright, so bottom line here, yes, the Avengers do change their lineup all the time in the comics, but this is film. It's a completely different beast. Time is far more linear, all the events feel far more cut and dry, the continuity is far more important. Thus, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans cannot play these characters forever. They can't just keep drawing them younger and younger and younger and younger. They are human beings who age the same way that the timeline in the films does. Thus, they must eventually leave these roles when they get too old to play them. Now, for any other franchise, that would be the end of it. That'd be done, finished. These two iconic names who've been there for 10 years are leaving. That's it, you're done. But Marvel, thankfully, has this enormous wealth of beloved characters we've already seen on screen to fall back on. Now you got Doctor Strange, you got Black Panther, you got Captain Marvel. These are not names that 90% of a film-going audience would have been familiar with until very recently, until Marvel introduced them just a few years ago. Like, there were no kids in playgrounds running around pretending to be Doctor Strange or Captain Marvel until very, very recently, but now they are already some of the most recognizable superheroes in the entire world. They are, more importantly, box office draws. Plus, they've got Spider-Man. And out of the aforementioned group, it is Carol Danvers, it is Captain Marvel, who seems the best place to lead the MCU, both from a thematic storytelling point of view and a marketing point of view. Like, Marvel, this is what they want. The upper echelons of that company want her to be the focal point of it all for the foreseeable future. So, yeah, why haven't they called Captain Marvel Captain Marvel? Yeah, I just remembered what the video was about there. Sorry, it's because that is going to be a hugely symbolic passing of the torch moment between her and Steve Rogers. And crucially, they haven't met yet. Thus, you can almost absolutely 1000% put your wife, your kids, and your house on a guarantee that Steve Rogers is going to play some major role in Carol Danvers' story going into Avengers Endgame. Guarantee. Now, yes, nothing is set in stone yet, very well observed, and the responses to the Captain Marvel film were broadly mixed, let's just say, so there is no underestimating the job Marvel have on their hands here. Like, two of their most iconic, most famous, most beloved characters are about to leave the franchise. They have to nail that changeover. And maybe whisper this one, but it's uncharted territory for Marvel. Like, so far, they've just been adding and adding and building and building and putting in new characters over the last 10 years. This is the first time they've got to take one off a pedestal and replace it with another one entirely. Like, they've never ever done this before, and it could go spectacularly wrong. So having Steve involved in Carol's journey will make that transition far more emotionally gratifying. Hopefully. So yes, too long, didn't read. The reason they've not called Captain Marvel yet is because they're probably going to let Captain America do that first, while we all sit in the back row of the cinema during Endgame, sobbing our little eyes out. Anyway, let us know what you made of it all in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. In the meantime, though, thank you very much for watching. Have, of course, been Adam Cleary. That film Cleary sort of works. I'll see you soon.